Hi everybody, it's me GLO. My real name is Gloria. I'm sitting here at 3 a.m. in the morning, December 8th, 2015. I've sat out on the porch, I've prayed to God, and I've thought about this long and heavy after the many conversations my sister had, which was yesterday. My sister has always, for the past 10 years, wanted me to journal my life and the story of my life and what goes on daily in my life. Not only she, but many people that know me have told me that I should write a book. I just don't have any interest in sitting down typing on a computer and writing on paper the story of my life. But since my life has had so many events in the past years, from my dream to get on Survivor and all the funny things I've done on YouTube, I've decided that I'll try to journal my life from this day forward. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to be as valid as I can from memory recall on the past events of my life. So this is day one, December 8th, 2015, and GLO's going to try to tell a verbal story, like a book, of her life, of what's made her who she is, what she is, and why her belief is to inspire all people in life to go after their dreams, to believe in themselves and to better their lives and never give up, and why things later in life made me believe that humor is truly the healer of all sorrows. My life and journey begins with a birth of March 27, 1952, in DePaul Hospital in the city of Norfolk, Virginia. My father was Leo Francis Query, we'll call it Senior, and my mother was Mamie Bell High Query. Father was born February 2nd, 1900, and mother was born September 9th, 1924. So as I begin this story, I am now 63 years old, and I will try to bring some humor in it because I don't want it to be all woe is me. I was born March 27th, 1952, Gloria Marie Query. Little did I know that my life was going to be full of hullabutt, challenge, laughter, sadness, joy, tragedy, challenge. But isn't that what we all have in life, is challenge? So this is day one. Let me begin by my memory being the most important person in my life was my father, who had been married previously in life and lost his wife, and I believe her name was Mary. He fathered 5 boys and 1 girl, and I actually don't know how valid this part of my story is, but I believe that my father had a child named Leo Francis Query Jr., who died, and then the brother, as I knew him, was also named Leo Francis Query Jr. I'm almost wanting to go to Vital Statistics and check that story out because I don't know how valid it is, but I do have a brother named Norman who's still alive, the only one from father's first marriage, that might be able to validate that story. As I recall, Leo Francis, we called him Bill Query Jr., said that he went to get his birth certificate later in life and he was told that he was dead. So that's where that story comes from. So anyway, that's a little bit of humor. But I can remember at a young age the most important thing to me in my life was my father. I was so bonded to him at the hip at an early age. And I believe what happened with this bonding is my father married a much younger woman. He was 24 years older than her. He was 52 when I was born, and she was 27. And my mother had come from the country of Sims, North Carolina, right outside Wilson. And to be honest with you, when she got out of high school, she came here and lived in a boarding house. And all I can recall is they called him Pop, whoever had the boarding house. And she had good friends named Ann McCullough. But anyway, that's kind of gives you the feel of my mother coming to Virginia from the sticks of North Carolina. And let me tell you, they were hillbillies, poor folks. They all lived in a 2-bedroom house that my grandfather, Lee High, built. And they used to put newspapers up on the cracks of the wall during the winter months. There was a stove in one room, and then there was a detached part of the house where the kitchen was on the back part where the porch was. Anyway, they were like mom and pop kettle. Poor as hell. And, to be honest with you, it was poor when I was born. I remember living in a house where I lived in a little pantry and used to look up on the wall. And it was this, I'll actually, am part of this journal, as I'm journalizing everything, one day I'll walk in there and tell you the story of a picture on the wall, the guardian angel with the kids walking over the bridge. That room was so small, and no, they weren't cruel to me or anything. It was bigger than a closet, but it was the size of a pantry. And there was a window and a little bed, and up on the wall I used to look at that picture and pray to God what little bit a 3, 4, or 5-year-old can do. Scared to death every night, and that picture and praying to God would bring me peace, and I would go to sleep not scared. Even though I could have ran out of the pantry and jumped in the bed with my mom and dad. But I didn't. I wanted to be a brave little thing. I don't ever recall once jumping into bed with my mom and dad when I was afraid in that little pantry bedroom of mine. We lived next door to a bowling alley that my father ran in what is now Chesapeake, Virginia on Liberty Street. But he also ran a bowling alley called the Upstairs Bowling Alley on Bush and Granby Street. But anyway, as the story goes, I was bonded at the hip with my father. And I don't want to make all these videos real long, but I'll tell you this. That bonding with my father never went away, and he was the number one impression in my life with all the back and forth things about my life that I'll later tell that I'm not always proud of, that made me the person I am today. With my mother, I had a lot of bonding problems. I don't want to speak bad of my mother, and I want to say and journalize it now that the way she is in this story is a big part of what made me a strong woman today. I always felt like my father was my mother and father, and that my mother was the challenging force where bonding happened much later in life that made me the person I am today. I guess Mom married an older man, and you want to hear the story? I was born 9 months and 3 days after their honeymoon, so I'm either a New York baby or a Niagara Falls baby. And the story goes, she used to wear this big smock dress to cover up her pregnancy because she was pregnant so soon. My father was a Catholic, and he had a sister that was an aunt. I think my mom was afraid that everybody was going to think that Dad and Mom had to get married and that she had to marry an old man, when the truth of it is they were never together until they were married, and I came quick. So this is the story of the birth of GLO. She's a honeymoon baby, born 9 months and 3 days later, with great bonding with her father, always seeking the affection and love of her mother her whole life. So this is the first part of my journal. I'm going to put it on YouTube, and I'm also going to post it. I'm going to try to do it daily, but I know me, I'm not going to do it every day. But I'm going to put it up there. And I told my sister I was going to journal it, but I didn't tell her I was going to put it on Facebook. I did tell her I was going to put it on YouTube. And I'm not going to make it private. And I may have friends that love me. I may have friends that leave me. I may have friends that think I'm not much, but it's my story, and we all have a story. And this is the first day at 3 a.m. in the morning. I went out on the porch and prayed. The first part of the story, Gloria Query, from Chesapeake, Virginia, the mother of 4 great children, 2 wonderful grandchildren, the only living sister I have named Denise, and the only living brother I have named Norman. That was from Dad's first marriage, but nevertheless, we didn't play that step-brother, half-brother stuff. He was my half-brother, but to me, he's my brother. That's my story in the beginning, and I'm sticking to it. Wish me luck. It'll be happy, sad. It'll be disappointing about the person you think I am. But that's my story. More coming later.